So you know that I was trained by Mike Menser.
Yes, indeed.
You know that back in the day, heavy duty, I know there's a whole bunch of you guys out there from heavy duty watching. And he seemed to take everything to an extreme. He whittled down the workouts volume-wise per workout.
Okay.
He increased the rest days or decreased the frequency of those workouts. Mm-hmm. And I believe at that point in time versus now we're in 2025, but at that point in time, back in 1993, 94, 95, he was experimenting with this with his clients. None of this had been done by you, by me, by Erica, by Rosella. We didn't have any of this done already for us. Mm-hmm. So he was experimenting at that point in time. So in his experimentation, he went so far as to having workouts one workout every 6 or 7 days. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that one of the things that I, with a 3-day split, is that I tried everything. Mm-hmm. I tried training twice a day. Doesn't work.
Right.
I tried 1 day a week. Mm. And I had clients over the years who could probably only come in once, 1 day a week.
Right.
Watch them, monitor them. And I'm a meticulous note taker.
Yes.
Watch what they did over the years. Had those coming in 2 days a week. Watch what they did over the years.
Yes.
Watch what those did 3 days. And of course, the outliers who would try to do 4 actually on their own. Always on their own, never with me.
Right.
Which also could be a factor as well because the intensity is never the same.
Right.
But in terms of doing one workout a week, that was something I was also able to do myself. Mm. Didn't seem to get the same results.
Right.
I think what I did was I was extreme as well. I would go, not so much with my clients, but myself, with my own experimentation. I would go to the point where, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Or I go to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm not really seeing anything anymore. Now, the idea of doing it one workout per week, I would have loved that idea to have worked.
It's an idea, right?
I'd loved it. I'd love it for it to work, but it just didn't.
For extremists, it's a wonderful thought. It's a wonderful. Yeah. It's great if you like being different.
Yeah.
It's great. It's much like lifting weights in super slow motion, right? Those guys and girls, and mainly guys. I don't say girls doing it, but they're bought into the idea that this is the best.
Right.
This is the best way of doing it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And lifting and lowering a weight super slow all the time. They do look different. They believe they're doing it the best way possible to the total neglect of lifting any other way that they believe is unsafe. Right. But as we find out, this is not the case. I mean, you and I are both proof of that.
We're both proof.
We're both,
we're still here.
40 years later, we're both training and still here. Everything still works. I mean, you saw on that workout, I had one side dragging behind me, which the arm just gave up on me halfway through. But nothing's hurt. There's nothing injured. I don't have injuries.
Yeah.
So even Kevin today, before we started, we were discussing the workout, and Kevin asked me, he said, "Is there any limitations, any restrictions?" And I went, "Oh no, like this." And because I honestly, I know the exercises I don't feel great in, so I would let him know.
Right.
But the ones that he chose, this is an experienced trainer here, and when we did chest and we did the low incline dumbbell presses, and then dumbbell flies on the flat, and then incline hammer curls, and then dumbbell French presses. They're actually a bunch of exercises that I really like. Mm-hmm. All of those are ones that fit me really, really well. I like them a lot. So I would not say, no, I'm not going to touch that one. But doing the oddball exercise, that comes with the experience. And also the experience of a trainer that I didn't know what he was going to throw at me, right? But for me to say to him, well, he said, should we stay a little basic? Yes, let's stay a little basic, because I know that he's going to end up having a repertoire or a whole encyclopedia of basic exercises that he could just boom, like this, and we go. So the nonstop of the workout, tell me about that, because this brings me back to Arthur Jones, Nautilus. He called it rush factor training in his world. Okay. The original Nautilus equipment, this is before y'all's time, going back to the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s. Big blue machines, okay? And it was machines made for each body part, and everyone would go boom, 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 set, anywhere from 8 to 12 exercises in, out of the gym, but back to back to back, every set to failure, with perhaps extras involved, extra high intensity techniques involved. And so what are your thoughts, or why do you think that's so beneficial? Why is it beneficial for muscle? And give me the additional reasons for any other benefits. First, the muscle, though. We're interested in the muscle.
First with muscle, again, when I started doing this, it was an experiment. And I never had any idea that I'd be training this way 34 years later. I had no idea. It was just, okay, see what's going to happen. Let's give it 9 months to a year. Let's keep my diet the same.
Yes.
Let's see if it works. Let's see what happens. And I think I always talk about the fact that when I first started training, I couldn't train myself this hard. So I had instructors back in Trinidad, and there were some awesome people who stepped in, and I would just give them the workout and say, all right, I want you to take me through this.
Right.
And when we did it, my idea was that I was going to go nonstop to try to increase the intensity as quickly as possible. That's really all it was. It was a guess. Like, you know what? If I want to increase the intensity, what I'll probably do, I'll just have no rest period, just keep on adding weight. I didn't realize that my weight would plummet. I didn't realize that the amount of weight I could use would be dramatically less, which in the beginning was a bit of a,
But it's relative, right? I mean, it's just relative. It's what you can do with no rest versus what you can do with rest.
Yeah,
So
and it's like, but the intensity was scorching. Like literally, it was like nothing I'd ever done before.
Right.
And I said to myself, all right, we'll just keep on. We just keep on doing that. And I kept on doing it. I saw the gains. I started putting on a lot of muscle mass on. I got to a point where I was competing as a natural bodybuilder, like realizing my goal, my dream. And I was like, all right, this is how I train. But when I had someone in front of me, a client, my first client, I was an apprentice because I was only like 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. And they gave me a year as an apprentice. You have one client who will watch you. If you're serious, you'll stick with one client for a year and we'll see what happens. And I was going to train that client with a conventional training workout. I wasn't going to do anything like at all like the way I trained. I didn't have a name for it. This is just how I trained is what I did.
Right.
And my coach saw me and she was on the treadmill. My coach came over and said, no, you can't train her like that. You train her the way you train her. And I was like, but my training is for bodybuilding. I want to be big. I want to be strong. I want to be fast. I want to be powerful. She wants to lose some weight and get toned. How do I? He's like, well, he's like, you're an apprentice. Figure it out. That's it. And I think he knew.
Yeah.
I think he knew. Yeah. And I took her through the workouts and I was terrified because I'm, telling this woman she's going to train for 10. I actually never said 10 minutes for the first first 5-6 years. I never used the word 10-minute workout.
Whatever you could take. Happened to be 7 minutes.
It's a fast workout. And they thought it was a half hour. Yeah. Because it's, when you're in it and you're going through that pain, it feels a lot longer than it actually is. And I've actually had clients come back to me and say, yeah, but Kevin, you trained me for a half hour, right? I'm like, no, it was 10 minutes. It's always just 10 minutes. It's going boom, boom. But the amount of fat loss that she had was amazing. And my hypothesis was maybe the fact that she's going so fast, maybe the fact we're going nonstop, it does something in terms of, stimulating more fat loss while at the same time building muscle mass. Because you're getting both, at the same time. You're getting two schools. You're getting increased muscle mass and you're getting decreased body fat. And then I had my first person 2 years into my training lose 100 pounds. And remember, without training, there's no cardio.
Right.
There's no cardio, there's no walking, there's no treadmill, there's just 10-minute workouts.
Diet, right? Good diet.
Yes. Unprocessed foods, solid, unprocessed foods, get just enough and stay with it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
well, you know what I could see? I could see how you literally are compressing.
Yes.
You're taking what, I don't know, your experience in the local gyms where you've been at before, but in a 1.5 hour or 2 hour workout that most people do, that's an average, right? Hour and a half, there's a lot of water fountain break, bathroom break, talkie break, flirty break, picking my nose break, scrolling on the phone break. Yeah. And then they do a set here, and then within those sets, there's a maximum effort here. Right. If you broke it down, we're talking about 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 maximum efforts in the course of this 90-minute, they're taking up residence in a gym. But what you're doing is you're compressing all of it into 14, 12, 10 minutes.
Yep. And I think that whenever someone says, well, how can that work? How could a 10-minute workout get me big, get me cut, get me jacked? How's that possible? And I'm like, there's no difference. If you took most people's workouts, cut all the fat out of it, cut all the time you're spending just doing absolutely nothing that's going to help you in terms of, maximizing your gains, you are going to be basically doing a 10-minute workout.
Yes.
And the idea that somehow or the other, if my intensity is too high and I can't lift my maximum weights, I won't get stronger. Yeah, I thought that too, but I'm an evidence-based person.
Yes.
My evidence was, I'm going to do this, see what works. It worked. It worked for me. It worked for my first client. It's worked for the clients I'm training now. We've literally hit the thousands of people, which is mind-blowing, the fact that so many people we've trained over the years.
So let me take a bits and pieces of what you've said, what I heard Erica say a minute ago, which is, there are times where, well, she said non-linear. You pointed out how you've done your bench presses from 215 to 405 to 195 to 395, like this, over the course of however much time.
Right.
There are times where you're actually using. I've seen you on Instagram, Kevin. You're Instagram famous, by the way. I've seen you doing 85-pound dumbbells on flies on an incline.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is. Am I not correct? I've seen this, correct?
Yeah.
85
I can warm up it with 80s.
With 80s.
Yeah. For
On
flies.
warm-up. So I've seen you do this, and the load is still there. Is my point.
Absolutely.
You're still using load, even if it's on, the first exercise of the day. Maybe everything after that, maybe the other exercises are not your maximal load. Maybe in other workouts they are. But you are still getting a heavy load in there. You're not consistently staying with, 40-pound. I used 40-pound dumbbell incline presses just now.
Right.
That's not your norm
No.
all the time. You wouldn't have me do that all the time. That's the point too.
No, absolutely not.
Right. See,
Absolutely
there
not.
we go.
Absolutely not. No.
So there has to be moments of
No.
increase of load, increase
Absolutely.
of intensity, increase of like this. It still comes.
There'd be some workouts you'd do whereby we'd probably go heavier.
Right.
There'd be workouts where we go lower. And again, it's really where you are in that day.
Yeah.
I try to point at the idea that this kind of training is very individual. You're essentially taking someone, I use the Olympics perspective all the time.
Yeah.
You're taking someone and you're putting them into their highest potential performance. And that has to come with where they are on that day, because not everyone can perform at the same level every day. It depends on what you ate yesterday. It depends on how your hydration levels, your sleep levels, your stress levels, your psych levels. All these things come into it. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day. I'm maximizing whatever you can do in that day, and we're gonna do it, keeping in mind what you did the day before, what you did the week before, what you did the weeks before, the year before sometimes. Have an idea after training someone for a while, and then from there you're just going with it.
So what he did that was really good was, in the course of our conversation leading up to the actual training, whether it was yesterday or today, we spoke, and he listened to me, right? He mentioned, remember we talked about how sometimes on Instagram, you want to just, get a little weight on there and all that stuff. And I remember saying something to you like, well, look, man, strength has never been my thing. But really, what I actually have enjoyed or gotten the deepest into is sort of like what I saw Tom Platz doing back in the day. Was he would do incline hammer curls like this with a 30-pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
And he'd go, literally, once he grabbed onto those dumbbells, he wasn't letting go of the dumbbells for 10 minutes. What he did with those things, and then by the end of the set, he had 15s in his hands. So he would be going for a solid 10 minutes. The whole gym would stop to see what was he doing. At the beginning of the set, whereas he'd be doing these strict, incline hammer curls, by the end of the set, he'd be banging his back up against the bench, throwing the dumbbells up, and then just fighting them. And now he had only 15s in his hands because he had drop setted it once or twice, because Tony, his training partner, had lifted it up for him already at various times during the set. And now he was down to this. He could barely bend his elbows. So that's how far he would take it. Like, to me, that is probably the big rush for me, that I get so deep. I love going there so much.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's just like,
and again, seeing Tom, a lot of, I always have to pay homage to where I come from. And, Tom Platz, seeing Tom Platz come to Trinidad, do a leg workout was seminal for me to try to understand that I need to bring my game up. That I thought I was training hard, and that no, I'm not training hard. And even, my instructors, when I first started training back in those days, you had gym instructors. You walk into the gym, you can just do what you want to do. they would tell you what to do. They say, all right, this is your routine. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And when I started giving them the routines for myself, they'd push me and they keep on saying, you can do more, you can do more, you can do more, you can do more. And, you know, having that, you know, that mindset is one thing. And I think people sometimes will look at the weights that I use. You know, when you see on Instagram, all right, people will say, like, he's like the natural Ronnie Coleman. He's using all that heavy weight. You're seeing a snippet.
Right.
You're seeing a sliver. You're seeing a tiny piece of what the workouts can be at times.
Yeah.
But every single workout's different. Every single workout's different.
Right.
Sometimes I'm not using 80-pound dumbbells. Right. Sometimes I'm using 40-pound dumbbells. Sometimes I'm using 30-pound dumbbells. Sometimes I'm doing it, you know, in a way whereby I'm doing a compound set or a superset in a way whereby I can't use that much weight. Because for me, I don't care about the weights. I stopped caring about the weights when I was a teenager. I cared about the results. I cared about being able to get bigger. I want to see my muscles get bigger. I want to see my body fat go down. I want to see an aesthetic, you know, result. But I also cared about performance. And performance is the thing that kind of underlines naturally intense, and we don't really talk about it very much. In that I was studying ninjutsu, and my whole idea was I need something, I want to be big, strong, muscular, like a bodybuilder, but I also want to be a better fighter.
Right.
So I've trained a lot of fighters over the years, and they love this training. Like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm doing grappling and I'm not tired at all. And I can keep on going. And I also, when I get to that point in the middle of a fight where I feel like I can't go anymore,
there's more.
I can push through because I'm practicing pushing through every single time I train with you for 10 minutes, 2 times a week. And not just with mixed martial arts fighters or martial arts in general, just in general, in people in life. You're going past it. Right. And that's the hard part, going past it. It's just scary.
So going into this, I'll have you know that, you know, even with the girls, you know, praying for me ahead of time and all that, you know, I had already determined that I wasn't going to stop a set until he said that the set was done. You see, I didn't say that ahead of time, because that's really when you know, like, you trust on his experience to take you to that place. And then when you're even beyond that, you saw he was at one point lifting the weight for me. It was not moving anymore. And regardless of what my body was doing, he knows there's still a bit more in the eccentric. Okay, we'll go for that until there's just nothing left and it's getting dangerous. But that willingness to go there